Welcome to the house that Rockney built. Leahy turned into legacy, Parsegan renovated, and Holtz restored. Notre Dame Stadium, the home of the Fighting Irish. A top 25 showdown coming up. Two of college football's premier teams preparing to duke it out right here on this field. As we'll see, the number 15 team in the country, the North Carolina Tar Heels, taking on the 8th-ranked team in the land, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Reese Davis, David Pollack, and Jesse Palmer with me. Guys, it's time to get it going. Notre Dame looking for a strong kick to get this one underway. He thought about bringing that out for a half second, but he'll take a knee and they'll bring it to the 25. You think the fans are ready for this one? The booth's shaking underneath us, guys. They'll leave it with him. Crosses the 30 to the 31, a 6-yard gain. This conference has a history of getting wacky, and the last thing you need to do is get off to a slow start in ACC play.
And what does everybody talk about every year, right? Like conference games, how much they matter, the familiarity with everybody around you. You can only start this one time, so let's bring that energy, bring that momentum. Who wants to start the season off right?
Well, the ACC is a conference that feels like oftentimes it just goes down to the wire. And those games late in the season are the ones that really determine what happens. But you've got to set yourself up for success, and it starts right here in the first conference game in the ACC for your team.
Finds his way for 3 out to the 33. This is the kind of game, a top 25 matchup in the early season that you look for when you're trying to build your resume.
Yeah, these are so fun because as a player you kind of get bored if you don't get challenged, but when you got an early season challenge like this, all the adrenaline, all the juice, Palmer, you're ready to rock and roll.
I love this. We've had this game circled for a long time because we learn a lot in these types of games. What are these teams about? Which conferences are better? You're going to get a lot of answers today.
They'll run for it on 3rd and short. He gets it oh so close to the first down marker, but I think he's going to be a touch short. They'll run for it on 4th down. And the Tar Heels get it past the sticks.
4th and inches anywhere on this field. I don't care if it's in the red zone on your own goal line. If you have their offensive line, I'm going for it, and you just saw it right there. Get it done.
This crowd, full throat, splitting the eardrums and letting them know it's going to be a long day. At midfield, he's got room. He's run out of bounds, but not before, turning in a big pickup and moving the sticks for a 1st down.
Mobile quarterbacks can affect defenses in different ways. This is a guy at quarterback that can hurt teams running the football, but even when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, everybody so afraid of what he can do, and that allows other guys to go out and have success.
The Tar Heels look to keep this drive humming. Throws to the wideout. Just masterful working that sideline and getting the toe down for the catch. Last couple of plays, the offense seems to be just one step ahead, David.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to do something to disrupt the timing, the rhythm. I got to do something that they're not expecting because right now they got the run and they got the pass working. So this defense, they have to find something new to kind of confuse this offense.
And they'll finally get him down after a terrific pickup.
You've got to be loving what you're seeing from your offense here on the opening drive of this game. They're in a really nice rhythm. They've got real good balance going on right now, and they've got the defense on their heels.
And they try to run inside, and there is nowhere to go. Operating in the red zone here on 2nd down. They want to run it left here. Got some room, headed to the goal line. And he'll step into the end zone. Touchdown, UNC!
many people expected this to happen, playing on the road in this environment against a better opponent, but they showed tremendous poise. On the opening drive, nice execution. They scored a touchdown. That was big time.
And with the extra point, they get the first 7 of the game. 76 yards on the drive for the touchdown, and they finished it off with a 14-yard run for the score. Lining up to cover the kick after that touchdown drive. And there will be no return on this one as the ball bounds into the end zone. The offense set for a first down play. Looking to throw, it's Page. Pocket starts to collapse. Chunked it away just as he was hit. Just gets rid of the football. Nobody to throw it to. It'll be second down.
That really good job by the defense. They got to understand that boy can fly. So when he gets outside the pocket, I got to make sure I'm ready to go get him. You can tell he was still being a passer. He wanted to throw the football. Nice job closing under control, getting a hit on the quarterback, and affecting the throw.
Really nice job there by both guys to throw and the catch to work that defense and get the first down.
Big time throwing that last play. You know, you think about great Notre Dame quarterbacks. I think back to a couple of Joes. Joe Montana, Joe Theismann. They'd love what they'd be seeing right now from this kid. He's got arm talent. He's got accuracy. And because of that, he gives this offense the ability to light up the scoreboard.
And he'll step across the sidelines after making a good gain on that one.
A nice job by the defense there, tackling the catch and smothering the tight end. They know this offense is going to try to find him in the passing game in a lot of different situations. That time, perfect coverage, and nice job bringing the big guy down. Not easy to do.
Linebackers trying to create some confusion. On second down, he'll let it fly. The short hand, it's Bargava. There to make the stop, but he is a weapon out of the backfield in the short passing game, and they've got a first down.
I just love quarterbacks that aren't greedy and that aren't always trying to throw the home run ball, right? Second down, you're in your own end of the field. The guy you want to throw to is not open. Just find the back. He'll go do something positive with it. This guy is a weapon, and you got to find him in the passing game.
And he was just a couple of steps away from taking that one even further after the catch.
And after giving up that completion, guys, I wonder if the defense is going to decide to stay in zone or maybe mix things up, a little more man coverage, maybe blitz.
Notre Dame coming to the line with another first down. Use the play fake, now to throw. Steps away. Bought a little time, lets it go. Just a short pass to the tight end. They stop him just short of the first down, but it will be second and inches coming up.
Well, it's a nice job, too, of the quarterback after the play fake there, getting his eyes down the field. He had to get that to his tight end quickly, knowing he wasn't going to have a lot of space to run with after the catch.
Quickly out to the tight end. He steps out of bounds, but he's got a first down on the play.
And watch the offensive line here. They all block run. Because they're blocking run, the quarterback decides, oh, I got a favorable matchup. He dumps it out to the right, makes the right read, gets a nice positive gain.
Just outside the red zone, 1st and 10 from the 21. Linebackers moving, trying to confuse the quarterback. Quarterback checking the play. He's looking to throw it. He'll take a shot. Got it. Takes it to the house. Touchdown, Irish. And now they'll empty the backfield for the two-point try. Motion from the offense. Receiver on the move gets the touch pass. Into the end zone for the two-point conversion, and with that, they take the lead. Almost ready to kick it away after scoring the touchdown. Not going to risk a return here. He'll make the fair catch. The North Carolina offense returns to the field. That running game was impressive, taking them right down for a touchdown last time, David.
Yeah, just mauling. No secret play calls, just simply we are more physical than you, and we're pounding the football right at you, Tom.
So if you're on offense this next drive, take a look at their safeties and see if they're creeping up into the box. Because of your success running the football, this might be time to take a shot down the field and play action.
So after the first down run, here's second down. Looking for room, it's Brady. He got a bunch and looked close to getting a lot more, but he's got the first down.
Man, who says you can't run up the middle anymore, right? Everybody thinks I got to make big plays. I got to go way out to the left, way out to the right, way out in space. Nope, right down the middle. Nice blocking. How about the running back? You could tell the speed, the wheels, does a great job getting down the field, making a huge rushing play.
To throw, it's Miles. He wants to take the top off. And that one falls incomplete, trying to get a chunk play on that one.
Well, on defense, they know that this offense is going to try and take shots. They're going to try and keep their secondary players in a position to make these types of plays. Good job on the back end forcing that incompletion.
And after the incompletion on first down, this offense looking at second down. From the gun, running back on the move. They ripped off 7 on that one. Now a third down and 3. Trying to pick up a first down. On third and short, they'll try to throw for it. Using the quick game. That's a live ball. And the defense jumps on it, and they get that turnover.
And that's a huge play by the defense. Great job and great effort getting to the ball carrier and swatting at the football, knocking it out, and then following a massive fumble recovery.
The offense lining up for a first down play. Quarterback changing the plays at the line. They'll come out on this drive and let it rip. Got his man. And he goes out of bounds after coming up with positive yardage there. Notre Dame right back to the line. Quarterback wants to throw on second down. And that one is incomplete. It's the end of the first quarter. Now facing a third down as they come back to the line after the break. They want to run this quarterback. He's got first down yardage as they move it to the 44. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Wide receiver coming across in motion. Looking for a man, it's Page. He uncorks a bullet to the right. Grabs it inside the 10. Gets it inside the 5, down to the 4, and it'll be first and goal. Just going to keep it after the snap. And he sprints to the end zone. Touchdown, Notre Dame! Lining up to tack one more onto that lead. The kick is up and good and put one more on the lead. A very efficient 5-play scoring drive. And they finished it off with the score from the 4. From inside the 10-yard line, he'll bring it back. And the returner will be brought down. North Carolina has it back, and the Tar Heels so pleased to send the offense back out. That last fumble proved to be costly as they cashed it in for a touchdown. Hit the gas, kid, wide open ahead. And chunk plays are the name of the game, and they get one here before the defense finally makes the stop. After a big gainer on that first play, now they can really go for it on 1st and 10. He wants to throw. Time to take a shot. It's complete. A huge pickup. And he found all kinds of room and got it down to the 28.
Man, if I'm a defense, I got to find a way to get some more pressure on the quarterback or disrupt their timing and their rhythm. I can't give them these big chunk plays through the air. I got to be maybe a little bit more aggressive or do something a little bit different.
He tried to find some running room, but they get him stopped.
You got to have that defense you know you can go to in running situations. Your base defense where you say, okay, this is where I'm going to start, and I'm going to stop the run, stuff it up front. My guys play big up front. And if I need to add some blitzes to it later on down the road, I can. But great job of the base defense making a play.
They got nothing on the last play. It's 2nd and 10. Looking for a man. It's Miles. And he was hit just as he released it, and it falls to the turf.
Yeah, and you don't see very many quarterback hits on screens. You know, the offense wants to bluff real quick and make it look like pass, and the quarterback's supposed to pop up, look like pass, and quickly get rid of it. You could tell timing all wrong. It was all jacked up, and that play went absolutely nowhere.
A little less room to work with now as the ball's at the 28, and it's 3rd and long. Grabbed in the middle. It's Jolly. And the defense makes the immediate tackle, but he has enough for the 1st down.
There's a reason 3rd down is called the money down. What a great find by the quarterback. Great job finding his receiver. At the end of the game, you look at 3rd down percentages. It tells a huge story, and it goes a long way.
Got some room headed to the goal line. And he's loose, and he'll take it to the house. Touchdown, North Carolina!
This coaching staff was trying to identify playmakers on offense early this year. How about the start of the season this guy has had? Scored in their first game. He scored early in this one. Defenses up to this point don't have any answers for this guy.
About to kick it off after punching it in for the touchdown. The kickoff bounces through the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 25. Here come the Irish, back on offense. These two defenses have had their heads spinning here in the first half, and now we might even see a little more scoring with this drive.
It's going back and forth. This is like two heavyweights just trading blows, David. What does this defense got to do to get a stop here?
I tell you what, man, when you're giving up points like this and you've got no momentum, you got to find somebody that can make a play to create something. And listen, if they're scoring anyways, let's be aggressive. Let's blitz more. Let's make sure we're making them feel discomfort in some way, shape, or form.
After the incompletion, it's 2nd and 10 from their own 25. The receivers often will run their route based on a side adjustment. This one's complete. They make the stop, but not before they do their work up top and pick up a first down. Here come the Irish again, this time doing it through the air.
And getting a little balance, right? We talked about how they like to be physical and they like to run the football. But when you get that balance going, man, it makes it easy to call plays, start to settle in, everything looking good on offense.
They've got it at the 37. It's 1st and 10. Back to throw. It's Page. Finds the tight end. Hey, we're getting close to halftime, and it looks as if the big fella wants to be all over the highlights.
Goodness gracious, he is open. When he leaves the huddle, apparently he's open. A ton of catches already early in this ball game. They are featuring him and finding him.
Now on 2nd and short after the first down completion. Out of the shotgun, they go to the ground. Tackled after picking up the first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Off the play fake on first down, wants to throw. Flushed out of the pocket. He'll try to do it himself. Nice run there to keep things moving before they force him out of bounds.
Well, you're making a positive out of a negative. And that time, quarterback, nice job buying time. He's trying to throw the football downfield. Nothing there. So instead of throwing it away and getting the incomplete, just get what you can get and make this next down more manageable.
Now on 2nd down. He's looking to throw. Coming after it. And the defense will corral the quarterback, and down he goes at midfield.
All right, this quarterback is going to have to start playing with a clock going off in his head. He knows he cannot hold on to the football too long with players like that getting after him.
They've got the ball at midfield, but they're facing a 3rd and long. Now the quarterback changing the original play call. On 3rd and long, he's going to have to turn one loose downfield. He makes the connection. And sure, tackling there to keep him from getting to the first down marker. Hoping to move the chains. Here comes Notre Dame on 4th. He'll try to throw and pick up the first down. He finds a soft spot in the middle. He's not going to get there. Stopped short on 4th down.
Man, aggressive play calls. Everybody wants you to be aggressive. They're aggressive. They take their shot. Now they got to live with a little bit of the consequences. They turn the football over on downs. Now their defense has to go out on the field and make some stops.
The quarterback needs to make a better throw there. Incomplete. After they couldn't connect, it's 2nd and 10. Back to throw, it's Miles. And this sophomore able to wreak some havoc and get the sack. Not sure exactly what led to that, whether the protection wasn't right or the quarterback just didn't see it, but the result was a negative play and a sack.
The one thing I do know is that quarterback had no chance to get that ball downfield. That pocket was breaking down, and it was breaking down quickly. There were just too many bodies in that backfield for the QB to make anything happen.
Here comes his home crowd as the defense tries to get off the field on third down. Looking to throw, and he needs a chunk play. And a missed opportunity on third down as the defense knocks it free, and fourth down is coming up. And the Tar Heels decide to punt it away. Doesn't say much for your drive when you're looking forward to the punt. He gets a block. Powers through. Very little will make a crowd hold its breath like a punt return, and he brought them to their feet on that one. Notre Dame has the ball and ready to get moving. Here's a timeout on the field. Tight game here late in the first half. Here comes the offense on first down. Receivers telling the quarterback what they see. Dropping back, it's Page. Working the middle, it's complete. They stop him at the 42, but they get it across midfield. Pick up 10 and the first down.
QBs, when you see zone coverage, man, can you manipulate defense when you have a good pocket and you've got time to throw. You get a little bit of time to throw. You can move guys with your eyes. That drag comes wide open. Good throw, good catch, first down.
Unloads it downfield. And he makes the catch inside the 10. And the defense couldn't corral him, and he took it all the way. Touchdown, Fighting Irish. How about that quarterback taking the shot downfield and delivering to the wide open receiver?
I love this quarterback, Chris, because he's aggressive. He wants to take shots. He's looking for every opportunity to show off that cannon and that arm talent. He showed it to all of us right there.
Looking for an alley from inside his own 10. And they'll get him on the ground as the offense comes out to start the next drive. Just over 30 seconds to go in the half. They've got it 1st and 10. To the air on first down. Pressure coming. Hit as he throws. Hit hard as he released the ball on that first down pass, and it never had a chance.
What a great rush by the defense. Understanding, winning up front, getting to the quarterback, and rattling him. Try not to get a penalty, right? Because God forbid you touch these guys too hard.
And the quarterback caught up to and sacked at the 12. The defense going to stop the clock with a timeout. They want to make sure they have everybody on the same page. They've got them pinned deep in their own end, and this crowd trying to help keep them there. On 3rd and long, he'll need to loosen up that arm. And that's incomplete. A defender all over him. Knocked the ball to the ground. 4th down coming up. The Tar Heels will call on their punt team. This will be the second time they've had to kick it away. Wants to bring it back. This guy is a daring punt return man. He's not going to settle for the fair catch. A solid return. Gets a little bit of ground for the offense. the first half, they're going to have to be efficient to put some points on the board before the break. He wants to start this drive with a pass. He's got his man. And oh, he was off to the races after the catch, and they finally drag him down. We've got a timeout in the waning seconds of the half, maybe a chance to get off a couple more plays. It's wise not to be too greedy, and they'll go ahead and send out the field goal unit. Never a doubt. And now the lead is extended a little further. That late in the half field goal always gives you a little boost going to the locker room, and they'll need to finish off these final few seconds and not allow them to answer. No return coming. He'll call for the fair catch. One more snap coming before halftime. Running back searching for a hole. They make the stop, and that is the end of the first half. That's going to wrap up the first half here, and now we join Kevin with the halftime update. All lined up and ready to go for a great second half ahead. This will not be returnable as it sails out of the back of the end zone. Here come the Irish, back on offense. Quarterback checking off. Looking to pass, it's Page. Moving away from pressure. Firing to the right, complete. And the defense wrestles him to the ground.
Yeah, and that was tough on the DB, right? He's trying to cover the receiver on a drag route, running back over the middle of the field. You're trying to avoid all the linebackers, all the congestion. He just couldn't stay with them long enough, and as a result, fresh set of downs for the offense.
Wants to fire on second down. Some heat on that completion. At the 45, on his way. He will step out of bounds, but not before the big pickup and a first down for this offense. The Irish have always been built on the run, but timely completions are important, like the great Tom Clements back in the day or John Hewart.
Got to be clutch, right? Got to be balanced and got to find those moments where you can thrive. It's always a system, it seems like, at Notre Dame where it's been built around the run game and it's built around physicality, but they got to get that element of balance to really take off and get to that next level.
Fires to the big fella. They make the tackle at the 36, but they're in plus territory now with the 15-yard pickup.
They pick up the first down on the drag route. I know that seems like a simple route, but it's actually a lot more complex than what it looks like because that route changes based on whether it's man or zone. If it's man coverage, he's flying across the field. If it's zone, he's got to sit down over the ball in a soft spot, giving his quarterback a place to go with it. Nice job of those guys being on the same page there.
Wide out in motion. Looking to move it through the air. On the run, fires downfield. All kinds of room to throw that one in there. And he got away from the defense and takes it in. Touchdown, Irish! They'll try to add another to their lead. And with the extra point, they're on top by 18. And let's check in with Kevin Connors in the studio. Kevin?
Week in and week out, guys, you never know what's going to happen in college football. Check this out. Houston is just getting blown off the field right now in H-Town, and at this rate, I'm not sure this won't get worse.
He'll call for the fair catch here. The North Carolina offense returns to the field. They'll run it out of the shotgun. Crosses the 30 to the 31 and a 6-yard pickup.
When you're a defense, it is stop the run first. That is your first responsibility. It makes the whole game easy. And right now, they got it going on the ground. The defense is going to change something up. These little tiny dink and dunk, dink and dunk. You keep doing this, they'll go all the way down the field on you, so you might want to get a little bit more aggressive.
Finds enough room to get 3 out to the 34. This offense is desperate to keep this drive alive, trailing by multiple possessions, and it's getting late. Bully ball on 3rd and short. He'll have enough to move the chains. It's first down at the 38.
Well, no real mystery there, and I think this coaching staff has a lot of confidence in their offensive line to get the push needed to give that back just a big enough crease to fall forward and get the first.
And it's so hard. My room for error is so small when I'm a defensive line. Like, I got to get off the ball as fast as I can and try to get some form of penetration. Just stop that ball from going north-south. They don't do it there, and they give up the first down.
After the 3-yard pickup, they come to the line, 2nd and 7. To the air, it's Miles. Got his man quickly. He's brought down, solid pickup, but a little bit short of the first down.
This defense is going to have to be careful. Not only do they have to worry about this guy running the football, but they've got to keep their eye on him when he runs routes, too. He is a versatile back.
3rd and short now from their own 48. And the Tar Heels get enough to move the chains.
I don't need it to be pretty. I just need my inches. 3rd down in inches. Nice job by getting the first down. Always fall forward, play physical. Don't get east and west. Stay north and south. Nice job by the running back.
The Tar Heels are on the move. He'll come out throwing on first down. I don't think that's the way they drew it up. Incomplete. Let's see what they've got on 2nd down. Out of the gun, the inside handoff to the running back. And he's swallowed up at the line of scrimmage by the big defensive tackle.
Great job of contained by this defense. And in order to do that, the end man on the line of scrimmage defensively has got to be able to set the point and force the football back into traffic. And that's exactly what happened.
A 3rd and long coming up here. From the gun, wants to pass. Getting some heat. That pass is well off target. He got hit as he was trying to throw, and they can't convert on 3rd down. On 4th down, they're taking to the air. Makes a grab enough for the first. Well, they just drained all the suspense out of the 4th down conversion, moving the chains easily. They were willing to spin that wheel of fortune in their own territory, and it paid off.
And it came up good. I mean, I think you see the aggressiveness by these offenses now, willing to go for it on their own territory, and I like it because they got it.
From the gun, the ground game. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one.
And you hear about run blitzes. This is exactly what a run blitz is. When you know the ball's coming up the middle, you want to bring those linebackers, get them closer to the line of scrimmage, and fire. Right when the ball snapped, he's coming downhill, doing a good job creating the loss. That linebacker really knew what was going on.
The lost yardage leaves him with 2nd and 11. The give to the back. Strong run, picks up 6 down to the 22-yard line.
Listen, his team's obviously down in this game, but it's not his fault. I mean, this guy showed up to play. He's been churning out big play after big play. Already over 100 yards rushing in this game. He's carrying his weight. He needs his buddies around him now to pick up the slack a little bit and help get this team back in the game.
Under pressure, and down he goes at the 33. With a double-digit deficit here in the 2nd half, they're going to go for it on 4th down. These corners backing off a bit. On 4th down, they'll pass for it. Fires to the wideout. Can't hook up on the long throw, and 4th down goes by the boards for this offense.
Great coverage on that fourth down play. Nice job blanking the receiver out wide. The defense, you could tell, they knew they were going for it. They had a game plan. They get the big stop and turn it over to their offense.
Notre Dame has the ball and ready to get moving. Quarterback reacting to what the D is showing. Wide receiver now comes in motion. They'll throw it on first down. He looks that one in nicely. They make the stop after the catch, and still some work to do to pick up that first down.
Great job by the quarterback thrown against zone coverage. You cannot telegraph where you're throwing the football. You cannot eyeball wide receivers. So great job by the quarterback using his eyes, not staring down his guy, and then throwing him open.
Looking downfield, it's Page. He's got his man. Makes the grab, and it's enough for the first down before he's dragged to the ground.
Well, it's a nice play design there. You're getting the running back involved in the pass game. Quarterback gives it to him early so he can go to work upfield and get the first down.
The offense setting up shop at the 46, 1st and 10. He's going to pass. That, friends, is a busted play. Incomplete. As they get set to snap it, time winding down here in the quarter. He'll try it again on 2nd and 10. Makes the catch. And they get him on the ground, and that'll probably do it for the third quarter. Ready to fire from the pistol. Quarterback making adjustments with his receivers. Offense calls a timeout here. Critically important to make sure they have the right play call and everyone on the same page here. Trying to move the sticks on 3rd down through the air. The throw. He's got it. And they got the defense on that one, and they get it to the 29-yard line.
Well, it really just feels like they are trying to make a statement to everybody in college football. They've got a lead, they've got it late, and they are still putting it on this defense. They are still letting it fly. They're airing it out, trying to light up this scoreboard.
This Notre Dame offense carving it up. They're working with another first down. Use the play fake, now to throw. Steps away to find some room. Fires to the big fella. They stop him just a length or two short of the first, and man, what they can do on 2nd down here. They go to the ground. He's brought down, but not before they pick up the big first down. Notre Dame lines up quickly. Quarterback will keep it. A strong tackle and wrap up from the junior.
Quarterbacks generally, guys, we know, they're not as big and not as physical runners as running backs. So it is going to be trickier for them to break tackles. I like the idea of getting the design quarterback run game going. But moving forward, let's see if we can get him out to the perimeter.
Wide receiver shows motion. On the option. Touchdown, Notre Dame! And the punishment has been extended.
And how about this offense? Another scoring drive. Great job. They seem to be in a much better rhythm than they were a week ago. They're 0-1. lost week 1. They could have got down on themselves. I like the way they bounced back. Now they're going to be 1-1 with this performance.
And for a quick update, let's go to Kevin Connors in the studio.
A bit of an under-the-radar game this week, guys, but take a look at this. A lot of we ares inside that stadium today. Penn State is running away with things, and that offense looks unstoppable. They're up by 28 over Kansas. Just another week of college football where we've come to expect the unexpected, fellas.
And how about that one? Kevin will be keeping an eye on everything going on elsewhere. North Carolina has it back, and the Tar Heels so pleased to send the offense back out. They've got it back after that last drive stalled out, and they were stopped on 4th down, David.
Yeah, and they put a little bit of a drive together, but Jesse, they stalled on the other side of the field. They got to find a way to keep that momentum going as they get closer to the end zone.
I agree. I do like their mindset, though, and I think they need to continue being aggressive moving forward in this game.
That's caught. It's Brady. He's out of bounds, but not before picking up enough for the first down.
Well, a great job by the quarterback understanding where the pressure was coming from and understanding where his outlet was. And, David, you know, it's demoralizing, I expect, from a defensive standpoint when you think you've dialed up the blitz and you think you're getting home.
Yeah, and you're doing what you can to try to pressure the QB in your...
And he can't escape, and down he goes.
And giving up 3 sacks a week ago, now you've already given up 4 sacks. They got to find a way to protect their quarterback. Give him a little bit more time.
After the big first down sack, it's 2nd down. They'll run the option. The ball's free. And he gets back on top of it, and a first disaster.
Ooh, definitely dodged a bullet there. Listen, quarterbacks don't run with the football all the time in practice. They're not used to all that contact sometimes. Have a tendency to cough it up a little bit. A bad play because he coughed it up? Could have been worse, though. Good thing he landed on it.
Fast motion from the offense. Back to throw, it's Miles. Going over the top. Makes the grab at the 10. And he'll take it to the house. He got loose. Touchdown, Tar Heels.
What a massive play for the offense. And sometimes when you're calling it deep in your own end, you're expecting man coverage or at least a one-on-one to the outside of the field, and that's what they had. The quarterback put air under it. The receiver shows off his speed. They make the catch, and it's not just a big first down. It's a touchdown. That is a momentum-changing play.
Bounces through the end zone. It's a touchback. They'll bring it out to the 25. Here come the Irish back on offense. This has been exactly the way you draw things up, David. The offense has really been moving the football.
And it's been great execution. They've done exactly what they've wanted to do. Build the lead. Now Palmer's a different animal. Now you got to protect him.
You can tell they were paying attention in practice this week in the film room because they have gone out. Everybody right now on the same page.
Second down coming up. Quarterback will audible. Wants to throw. It's Page. Throws to the tight end. Oh, did he find a hole in the defense? A huge gain on that one before he ran out of bounds, and he has the first down. He just keeps piling up numbers with completion after completion in this standout performance.
And I think some people might say late in the game, you got the win, everything's in hand, be a little bit conservative, or you just say, I'm just going to keep doing me. And what I do with this offense is throw the football all over the yard, and I'm going to try to win me a big trophy at the end of the year.
They'll throw it on first down. Makes the pass. And it's incomplete. If you're going to take a hit like that, you might as well hang on to the ball.
I'm a little bit surprised they're still throwing the football here this late in the game with this kind of lead. They're on first down, taking a shot, falls incomplete, but obviously they're still seeing matchups that they want to take advantage of in the back end of this defense, so they're letting it fly.
Now on second down after the incompletion. Using his feet. He's brought down, but there's a flag on the play. Let's see if it stands. The officials offer the deal, and the coach accepts it. They will take the penalty. This offense has a second down play. Here comes the option. He'll toss it. And he'll make his way out of bounds after the solid pickup. That penalty moves the ball back 10 yards. We'll replay the down. Here comes the offense on second down. Looking to throw it again. Fires to the tight end. They make the stop, but not before he takes a chunk out of what they need to move the sticks. He's been so locked in, it seems like any pass called is a guaranteed chunk play.
Yeah, and winning late like this in the ball game, keep trusting him, keep spinning. You know why? Because stats matter late in the game. You want some postseason awards? Keep chucking it, keep getting those stats.
Coming to the line of scrimmage at the 30. It would be a long field goal, but they'd love to pick up a few here on third and long. To the air, it's Page. Release to the back. Caught. Then they'll finally catch up to him, but not before a big chunk of yardage is picked up. Notre Dame right back to the line. We've reached a 2-minute warning, and this offense will be quite content just to drain the rest of the time away. First and goal for the offense. Wants to go up top. And this will be incomplete. A big hit there forces second down.
Well, the quarterback knew he wanted to go to his tight end on that play. He's a big physical target, but it was the hit on the play that forced the incompletion.
Defense rose up deep in its own end on that last play. Now a second and long coming. Quarterback checking the play. He wants to throw here on second down. He caught it. Touchdown, Fighting Irish. And the stomping has commenced. Getting set for the point after. And the extra point will tack another one onto this lead. About to kick it away after scoring the touchdown. And he takes this from inside the 5. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, but they get him on the ground at the 20. The North Carolina offense returns to the field. This one has pretty much been a bludgeoning, but they'll try to finish with something positive late.
Well, they ran into a buzzsaw today, and I don't think it would matter what type of X's and O's they're out there executing, David. Jimmy's and the Joes, they're just not as good as the opponent.
And as an athlete, it sometimes hits you in the face and it stinks, but you're not good enough. And today they were not good enough. And I'm going to do the best I can to try to flush this down the toilet, not remember it, forget it, move on for the next game. Maybe something right here I can create positive that carries over to practice and maybe next week.
Well, this guy's a weapon, throwing it and running it, and you know he's going to try to hurt this defense with his legs.
It puts so much stress on the defensive line to chase him and the fact that the play is extended so long.
Yeah, if they've got a spy defensively, if someone's athletic enough to run with this guy, that's going to be maybe a sound move moving forward schematically.
Leaves it with the back. Good pickup on that play. It'll bring up 2nd and 4.
And that was a pretty good run there for the offense. And listen, I know this game's over, but that's what this offense needs a little bit more. They need a little more balance, a little more easy second down situations with some positive runs on first down. They just need something to get them going, some kind of spark. The ground game might be it in the future.
Pulls and fires complete to the right. And he was on his way, and they get him down at the 30.
Big play in the passing game there, and I like the receiver gearing down in the zone. Did a nice job finding the soft spot on defense between the defenders, giving the quarterback an easy target to throw to complete that throw.
Wants to throw on first down. And they will score! Touchdown, UNC!
And this receiver is on fire. He's got all the skills that you look for in a big-time target, and that's already his 2nd touchdown of the game.
PAT unit on the field. Right down the boulevard. A very efficient 5-play scoring drive. And they finish it up with the final 30 yards coming courtesy of that touchdown pass. The ball squirts through the end zone. That'll be a touchback. They'll bring it out to the 25. Notre Dame has the ball and ready to get moving. Barring complete catastrophe, David, this offense ought to be able to salt away this game.
Yeah, and unless you're playing in a different league, this one's over. Like, there is no three-point conversions and stuff like that you can get. So run the ball, make them use timeouts, Palmer, walk out here with the ball.
Yeah, this defense should just use their timeouts. Can't take them with you, right? And we'll just see. Who knows? Crazier things have happened in college football. Maybe they put the ball on the ground. They don't execute the center-quarterback exchange.
Quarterback changing the plays at the line. Coming out on first down with the play fake. They get to him as he throws. Oh, picked off. He'll try to take it back. The tag. Waltzes into the end zone, but he might be dancing the other way. There's a flag on the field. So the offense, more than happy with the result of the play, will decline the penalty. Getting aggressive here and going for 2. Looking downfield, it's Miles. And it's almost intercepted in the end zone. It's caught, but he's out of bounds. Just an incomplete pass and a bullet dodged by this offense. 34. Time is against them. Still down by 2 scores, but they'll line up for the onside kick. Cool as a cucumber as the hands team makes a sure catch.
Yeah, and this is why you put your hands team on the field most of the time when you know it's coming, and you put those guys that are great catchers of the football. The first guys, what do? They go block. They go blow somebody up. The next guys catch the football, secure it, get your butt on the ground. And most of the time when you do this, the ball game is over.
Going up top on first down. Lets it fly. Got it inside the 10. Takes it into the end zone for the touchdown on the final play. The denouement. The epilogue. The finishing touch.
And you knew this one was over already, but how about an exclamation point to go with it? Another score for this offense. They've had themselves a great day, and the stats just continue to pile up.
Well, this was an offensive showcase out there today. We thought it would be a high-scoring game, and it certainly delivered.
If you love offense, then you love this type of game. Both offenses going up and down the field, seemingly at will. Throwing the ball, running the ball. But, David, I feel like if you're a fan of defense, maybe this wasn't your cup of tea.
More defense optional. You didn't really get too much of that stuff, but, listen, you got to get a few stops late in the game. You got to get just kind of one stop with this many points that was being scored. You got the stop late. That's why you got the dub.
That's going to do it for us from here. For Jesse Palmer, David Pollack, I'm Reese Davis, and this has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.